I'm doing today's reflection on the middle window on the south side of the church. And it's very interesting because it really contains two scripture verses. So the first one is from the Revelation to John. Listen, I am standing at the door, knocking. If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to you and eat with you and you with me. To the one who conquers, I will give a place with me on my throne, just as I myself conquered and sat down with my Father on his throne. Let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. And so obviously that's the image of Jesus. Looks like he's knocking at the door and he has a light in his left hand. Now, the interesting thing is, at the bottom of the stained glass window, and as you can see, it says the light of the world. And that may be referring to John's Gospel, chapter 8, verse 12, which says, Again, Jesus spoke to them saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Now, I've always taken this stained glass window to exclusively be about Jesus knocking at the door and us letting him in. And as you can see, the door that he seems to be knocking on with his right hand is a door with no handle. And so they didn't really have, doors you push on. And so the thing is that Jesus is saying, look, I'm going to knock on the door, but it's up to you to let me in. It's up to you to open the door for me. Just like it's up to us to choose to follow Jesus, it's us to choose to be disciples and to follow him. And when we don't do that, well, he knocks to the door and we don't let him in. He moves on to the next door. But saying I am the light of the world is a little bit different. And so really we have two scripture passages here that are not competing with each other, but certainly are a little bit different. When we follow Jesus and become disciples, we become to the world as light to the world. We become those who illuminate the true way, the way of the gospel. And so Jesus comes to us this day, knocking on the door and saying, I am the light of the world. And indeed in Matthew, he says, you are the light of the world if you follow me. And so through Jesus, we become the light of this world. So how do we become the light in this time of pandemic, in this time of isolation and quarantine? We become the light of the world by being there for other people, calling them, seeing them, saying hello to them, certainly at a distance and safely. Pretty soon we're going to be talking about opening our church up, opening up to worship together, and it's something many of you and I have longed for over these last few months. But we're going to do it in a responsible way, because part of what it is to be a disciple is to care for others. And if we're not doing things safely, we can hardly say that we care for others. So I'd ask you to be in that conversation and to pray about what it is we need to do to open to be safe for all people, to again worship together. Because as true disciples, we need to be the light of this world. Amen.